Like I said, we signed 5 linebackers. Addison Gillum, I talked about before, big athletic kid, 6'3", 225. Also played high school, played tailback from Foothill High School. Really excited about Addison. The other linebacker is George Frazier. He's a big Mike linebacker. He's 6'2", 255. He also plays power forward on his high school basketball team. He's from Monrovia High there in the LA area. Really excited about what George brings to the table for us there. The other linebacker is Kenneth Oglebody from Bellarmine Prep. He was the CCS Player of the Year. He was also the Northern Cal Player of the Year. He played tailback and linebacker. I like to get linebackers that play tailback. That's kind of one of the things I look for. Basically, all of these guys played tailback or quarterback also. Believe it or not, George Frazier played quarterback all his life until a year ago when he got too big. They played him as a wildcat quarterback and tailback and tight end also. But Kenneth is a phenomenal young man. He's going to major in mechanical engineering. Really look for him to be a really good linebacker for us. I talked to you about Marquise Reed. Marquise is a big young man that played linebacker, defensive end. He's kind of a tweener. See how his body keeps growing. If he'll stay at linebacker or defensive end, because he's already 6'4", 225 pounds as a 17-year-old. The other young man is Ryan Severson. He played linebacker and running back. He made first team All-California. He made CCS Offensive Player of the Year. He gained 1,998 yards as a tailback this year with 32 touchdowns. Had over 60 tackles on defense. Ran a 10,800 meters last year. Hope he gets down in the 10.7s this year. Excellent student, 4.0 student. Really excited about what Ryan brings to the table. We signed 5 offensive linemen. Really excited about it. We got 2 young men from the Woodlands High School, and Sam and the other young man, Jonathan Huckins. They both played side by side on the same side. One was a guard, one was a tackle. We went to went for the home visit. It's a fun story. When you go on home visits, it's a lot of fun. You eat a lot of food. Mom's always cooked the best thing, so I always enjoy that. And when we went to Sam's house, and the Huckins came over, so we got them both at once, which was a lot of fun. And the mom made some gumbo, and oh, was it good. And I had to have 2 helpings of it. I had to. So there was a lot of stories. One day, Clayton Adams and I went to 3 houses in a row. One at 4, one at 6:30, and one at 9. We had to eat 3 different meals, but we forced our way down. There was great dessert at the last. It was kind of like a progressive dinner, so it was a lot of fun. The other old lineman, Gunnar Graham from Marin. Big young man, plays offensive tackle. Their team went to the state finals. Really good player, and really excited about Gunnar. He has a lot of history in his family. You ought to read the bio. It's really interesting. It'll take me a little while to talk about it all, but Dave Pletty did a great job on getting some information on these young men. John Lasella from Columbine High School had a great visit at his high school. And really excited about it. Very athletic offensive tackle, also plays lacrosse, can really run, and as he gains weight, he's going to be a heck of a player that we're really excited about. And then Colin Sutton from Orange Lutheran. His sister Chloe is an Olympic swimmer. You've probably seen her swim. Really phenomenal family. And his dad played offensive line for the Air Force. And so, they're excited about having Colin here from Orange Lutheran High School. Big young man that could play guard, center, tackle. Very athletic young man. On the defensive line, we signed 2 defensive end. Jimmy Gilbert. Jimmy's 6'4½", 230-pound athletic defensive end. Also plays basketball. If you turn on the television, you'll see his sister. She's starting forward for Texas A&M in basketball. His dad played at Texas A&M, was a draft choice, played in the NBA for the Chicago Bulls for a while. And his mother played college basketball at North Texas. So he's very athletic. I'm really excited about getting Jimmy here to play defensive end. And the other young man that will play defensive end for us, let me see this right here. Make sure I don't forget anybody. Tim Coleman. And Tim was a young man when we got here. I turned on the film to look at Mullen High School playing Valor High School, which are two great schools. That's the first film I watched. I said, give me a film of some of the best football in Colorado. They said, well, watch Mullen playing Valor, first game of the year. And we watched about 5 plays, and I go, who is number 56? And they said, it's Tim Coleman. And I said, well, we need to recruit Tim Coleman. So we went after Tim Coleman, and really excited about him coming here to play for us at defensive end. Very athletic. He's 6'3", 245. Already built really well. With him and Jimmy, I hope that one of those guys will be able to step out there and help us this fall, because we're a little thin at the defensive end position depth-wise. And then, last but not least, I also like to talk about a young man that I think is a phenomenal athlete, Philip Lindsay, from Denver South. He was the leading, I think he broke the record for the for the city of Denver in rushing, and he only played 1.5 games his senior year. Phenomenal athlete, really good running back, very good defensive back, a young man that's just bubbling over with enthusiasm. If you walked in this room, he just lights the room up. Great personality. Really excited about Philip and what he brings to the table. Our quarterback, Cepho, really impressed with this young man. Went to his home visit, and his family, the love they have for the University of Colorado, and he is a really good football player. He's a heck of a basketball player. He averages double-double in basketball. His team won the league championship, and hopefully will be in the state finals in Washington. Really excited about what he brings to the table. 6'4½", 215 pounds, can really run. I'd say he runs at least a 4.6. Very athletic, and took his team to the state finals. And just a phenomenal young man that I think hopefully will be a bell cow for this class and for our program as he grows in it. At this time, I'll take any questions.
Mike, when you took over the program and you saw the 10 commitments, did you go to them and honor those as the right thing to do? Did you see film on them and say, all these guys are basketball players?
I went and said it was the right thing to do, and I watched the film at the same time, and I felt like these were good football players. And I knew we were behind the 8 ball, and I knew that we needed to keep these guys, and we did, and they stayed loyal to Colorado. And I think that they really love this place, want to be here. There's a lot to being successful, I believe, when you come to college, and that's both feet are in the boat. And I believe all 10 of these young men, both feet were in the boat after we got with them, and they reestablished their commitment. So they kind of had to commit twice. So, you know, all you guys that got married, if you had to ask your wife twice to marry you, maybe would she say second the second time? I don't know. But if she did, she's definitely committed. So I feel like these guys are.
Mike, the one thing we've learned here as the Bucs moved to the Pac-12 was, you know, needed to upgrade athleticism. You think you did that with this class? Yes,
I do. I think our receivers can really run. I think the 2 DBs that we got are very athletic. I think with Lindsay, he is a dynamic football player and gives speed in that area. I feel like at the linebacking core, 4 of them can really run, and then they can really run, and then one of them's really big and athletic. And we needed to get linebackers that can run in open space. We're going to play 5 spread football teams next year. The old traditional big inside backer, there's really only a place for one of those guys on the field now when you play those teams. And then when we go against the other teams, you got to be able to move in and do that. And I feel like our defensive ends that we sign are tall, athletic, and rangy. And you've got to get those type of players in today's football with the speed of the game. And I feel like we found that at linebacker and the defensive end.
Where do you see Philip Lindsay? You've got him as running back and defensive back. Where do you see him at this point, or is it up in the air?
It's up in the air. You know, he's a phenomenal guy with the ball in his hand. That's probably where I see him. But he also, you watch him on defense, and he's just a playmaker. He'll hit you. He'll hit anything that moves. So he played both all the time, but he's very dynamic with the ball in his hand. So something to that phase. Either if he's a slot receiver, is he a tailback? Is he, he's a return specialist? So something to get the football in his hands, and then if it ends up being we need him on defense, then you would see him being utilized with definitely on all the kick returns.
What convinced you that Coleman's knee is going to be fine in the long run?
Our doctors looked at it when he was here on his official visit.
Same with Lindsay?
Yes.
You talked about the previously committed players and how they stayed loyal to Colorado. How much convincing, how much selling did you have to do to them about you?
Wow, I would think quite a bit. You know, that's the first thing I did when I got on the phone. And I talked about the commitment by the university. I talked about the history of Colorado. I talked about what we're going to do in the future. I talked about our staff and what we've done. I talked about the turnaround job that we did at San Jose State. We went there, we were 122 in the nation, and 3 years later, we're number 21 in the country. They never had anybody play in the Senior Bowl. They had 3. So I think that they saw that we've done it before and we'll do it again. And that's what we're banking on. And I think they also, we got right onto it and honored it. And it's funny, a lot of them watched my press conference and they heard me say I was going to honor the commitments. And that's interesting. 8 out of the 10 told me they watched that. And that meant a lot to them. And so I think that had something to do with it also, that I was sincere in what I was saying. And then,
Mike, why do you like linebackers that also play running backs?
I just think if my personal opinion is if you can run the ball and make them miss you, that if you get on the other side, that means you can tackle. You're a good enough athlete to tackle a good tailback. And you're used to seeing space, you're used to seeing alleys. You know, running back, you can see all the alleys, he knows where, you know, those great linebackers, you go, how did he just make that play? How did he appear in that hole? They can feel what the running back's going to do. They can feel the lineman, they can feel the blocking scheme. And it's stuff you just can't coach, and they've done it. All their lives, since they've been playing junior pro football, they had a ball in their hand, right? So they felt that, and now they've done it. And in high school, most of them all play both ways, and I like to have those all both ways. All 3 of our linebackers at San Jose State were tailbacks. And 2 of them were all conference, and 1 was WAC Player of the Year as a freshman. So I think that I've just kind of always gone by that philosophy.
Sefo, is he going, you said all positions are wide open, but at this place, quarterback seems really wide open. Is Sefo going to be in that mix in the spring?
Well, he won't be here this spring.
I meant the spring and the fall. Sorry.
Okay, yeah, I would wish he was here this spring.
Yeah,
I wish he was coming out. We could get him now. We'll go through spring practice and see, but all of the freshmen will have an opportunity to compete for a playing position. And I feel like that he has the talent. We'll just see if he can handle everything.
Mike, I don't want to put you in a position where you're a non-high school kid. But this is a Mitch Parsons kid, highly touted tight end from Chaparral, who really wanted to come here, and he couldn't get anybody to really want to talk to him. Did you guys you guys evaluated him and didn't think he fit? Or
no, we had 6 tight ends on scholarship. I need linebackers, I need DBs, you know, there's 6 tight ends on scholarship. And so that's the way it sits right now. I think he was a young man, if I correct right, was committed here, then decommitted. I put all my efforts into commitments first, seeing all them first, and they all stuck, and everything kind of sat into its place. So there's nothing against a young man. He's a good football player, but sometimes numbers work out the way they do, and I put off my first 2 weeks of effort was into making sure my commitment stuck.
One observation, half your players are from private schools. Is high school football at the public school level that bad now? Is it getting worse?
No, I think it's just in pockets. I think it happens in pockets. I really do. You know, for example, I'll just use the state of Texas. There are more of those are public schools. The public school system and the high school football in the public schools are phenomenal. Sometimes in pockets of California, it's public, sometimes it's private. Just it varies, and in Colorado it varies. But I think that, you know, also, you know, we're just looking for the best football players that academically can fit here. And sometimes I think every year it'll fall different. One year it might fall more public, more private. It might be 50-50 like it is. To be honest with you, I don't look at the school. I look at the player, and go from there. But as programs are successful, sometimes they have more players. And as kids see more and more young men go to college, they're more and more prepared for college, if that makes sense.
Did you try to go after any junior college transfers? I know you had success at San Jose.
No, we didn't try to go after any junior college transfers. We were so late. Most of those guys that we would have wanted were already basically committed or signed by the time I got the job. And so we concentrated on the high school kids. We looked at a couple, didn't feel like it would fit, but we spent basically all our time on the high school kids.
In a perfect world, would you redshirt most of this class coming in?
Oh, wow. In a perfect world, what I usually do, and this is exactly what I tell the kids, if you can play and you're ready and the position's ready for you to step in and play, you're going to play. If you're just going to play a small percentage, I'm going to try to redshirt you. So the next year you can play a bigger percentage and play a bigger role for 4 years. Sometimes that happens by injury. They have to go play. Sometimes it happens by graduation. They have to go play. And then every once in a while a guy walks in and he's just better than everybody else and he plays. So I don't know if that's the exact answer you want, but that's exactly what I tell them, and that's exactly what usually happens.
Mike, you and your staff build a reputation in San Jose for finding the undervalued high school kid.
Yeah.
Because of the late start, do you feel like a lot of these guys fall in that category?
Yes, I do. You know, we were talking about that some today. You know, we did a great job, we feel like, of evaluating. That's something we work on hard. We spend a lot of time on. You know, the last 3 days we've been watching junior film hard in different areas. So I feel like some of the guys that we found here might not have as many, quote, stars or offers or whatever, but they're going to play. You know, there'll be a few guys drafted out of San Jose State in a couple of years that had no offers but ours. And matter of fact, the 3 kids that played in the Senior Bowl, one of them was a walk-on that we developed. The other 2 had only 2 offers. San Jose State, San Jose State.
How hard was it to recruit for needs that you didn't know, you only saw on film because
Right.
you hadn't seen anyone play yet?
That's a good question. What I first tried to do is I look at the depth at the position, okay? And we were really thin at linebacker and really thin at defensive end. You got to have bodies that can play those spots. So that's what we looked at first. Then I watched and I realized we needed some speed. And I felt like speed with receiver was a big area that we needed speed. I felt like our running back area, we needed some speed. The young man who signed can fly. And I felt like, you know, every year I want to sign a good quarterback, every single year. That's such a critical position. And I felt like this young man was excellent. And was really excited about it. The more I watched him, the more I got to know him. I thought that, you know, Rip Shear did a good job, was on our staff before, evaluating this young man, finding him, and we were able to hold on to him. So you go at depth first, and then you're starting to look at need after that. And we needed to do that. We also signed quite a few offensive linemen because we need some size in that area. And it takes offensive linemen usually a little bit longer to be ready to play than the normal position.
Have you had time to look at other Pac-12 lists and how do you feel you stack up?
I haven't looked at one single other Pac-12 list. You know, I had a wise coach tell me one time, don't worry about everybody else's people, just worry about the ones you have. Don't worry about the ones you lost. Make sure the ones you sign, those are the ones you have for 4 to 5 years. That's what you're going to build on. I'm a firm believer. I always say 22 because it kind of always averages that over a period. But we need to get the right 22 for Colorado to be successful. And I feel like we're well on the way to doing that. And, you know, proof's always in the pudding 2 to 3 years from now on this class and how it works out.
What's interesting about Coleman, do you think defensive end in the Pac-12 is a position where a true freshman can help the team, especially in his case?
Well, I hope so with our depth situation at defensive end. I really think that we need Tim or Jimmy to be able to be ready. Now, if they're not completely ready for it, I still think they're going to be good enough to really help us. You know, it's just hard for a true freshman sometimes to step in against a 6'6", 320-pound offensive tackle. It's a little bit different than he's been going against every week, but I do think they have the tools to do that.
What would you say to fans that subscribe to online ranking message boards and stuff like that might look at the lack of stars next to some of the names?
Right. I think that I think it's a fun thing to do for them. I think it's great for college football. It keeps it going year round. It keeps its excitement going. But the stock is in what the kid does when he gets here. You know, what they did in high school is great. That got them to here. But it's kind of like when you get your job. If you had a job before and you come here like me, I had a job before. Well, I got to do a job again. And so do the kids. They got to come here. They got to work hard. They got to prove themselves. They got to go to class. And I really think that it boils down. There's a lot of great athletes, okay, but I really think it boils down to their mind and their heart, how committed they are. and how much self-esteem and how they keep hard, they keep working. I like kids with chips on their shoulders. I don't like kids that are entitled and think they've arrived. I don't think those kids usually be successful, by my opinion. I like to have a chip on your shoulder, got something to prove, and every day you wake up, you look in the mirror, I'm going to prove it. And those are the type of kids I want on this football team.
It seems those fans can't necessarily see as much film as you guys do, or see.
Right, there's no way. They don't have a job if they do.
Do you understand their frustration given the lack of information or just the arbitrary rankings that they made up to?
Well, I really don't understand the frustration of it, I guess. I just think it's fun for them to kind of keep up with their schools and their teams, and I think it's a good extracurricular activity to kind of hold them over till the next season, so to speak. But I definitely wouldn't put all my stock in it. I think someone sent me an article the other day that on the Pac-12 team for this year, there was no 5-stars. There was only like 6 4-stars, and all the rest were 2 and 3 stars. So, so I don't know what that means, but you can take it for what it's worth, I guess.
Did you ever get a guy at San Jose State that everybody wanted? What was this that came in without a chip on his shoulder that was kind of coming on? Do you remember one of those guys?
We had a couple guys that were really good in high school and came in, and after about a year they lost that, and they're playing good for us. But the first year was a little bit of a struggle because they've kind of been catered to a little bit, so to speak. But they came around, and one of them's a really good player. And he's one of the guys that after this next year get drafted. So he's a really good player, but he only had 1 scholarship offer too.
Do you approach a guy that's committed to another school a little differently than a guy that's still wide open? He's like a couple guys that changed their minds and came to Colorado.
Right. No, what I did was if a kid was still looking, and if a kid's looking, he's going to take a visit at another school. He says he's committed, but he's taking visits. I mean, come on, you're not committed. And so if a kid was doing that and I liked him, then I would call him. That means something's up, and work with him and kind of see what the kid was all about. Because character really means a lot to me. I know a lot of people say that, but it really does. It means a tremendous amount to me. And we really tried to look into that hard and what the kids are all about. But sometimes things come across on the internet or sites that a kid's committed. He's really not. And so you just kind of got it. You make a phone call, and if the kid is saying, "Coach, that's definitely where I'm going," I don't try to talk him out of it, because I don't think that's I want him to be committed to us, not be smooth talking him out of something.
This week I saw a couple times national writers who have talked to coaches who told them that negative recruiting is an all-time high. Did you notice that?
I don't know. I don't know what the other schools are telling the kids.
They don't tell you?
No. What I do is I say, what questions do you have that you've heard that I need to answer? And I said, I'm not going to, and I don't say anything negative about anybody. I said, I'm going to talk about Colorado. You make your choice. And but I don't know if negative recruiting is on its all-time high. Or not. The one thing that happens in recruiting that hasn't happened in the past as much more is the internet. Kids get on a blog or they get on something, they can see negative things being said by just fans or other people. So I think some of that might come into it more than it ever has in the past.
Mike, I know you've been at different levels of football, but being your first year, you recruited the Pac-12.
Yep.
Did you learn anything about this league? Was anything surprising or unusual to you at all?
No, not really. To me, it's all relative. You run across the same schools with the same kids, and I do know that when the homes that I went into, even the ones we didn't get, that they think highly of Colorado, and that's good as far as in the chair I sit in, and they believe that it can be something special again, and where we recruit at, they're excited that it's in the Pac-12. They're seeing it on television a lot more. Everything they know about us a lot more. They know our team, and so that's exciting for me. And I think that will do nothing but grow.
Coach, are you at all worried about now having a locker room with players brought in by 3 separate coaches?
No, I'm not. I played for 3 different head coaches. I had 4 different DB coaches. So I think I know how to relate to them, just from my experience myself.